Hey, welcome back to Catherine's Couch. I have a lot going on right now, and it's stuff that feels really vulnerable, and it's stuff that I feel like I'm choking on. So all of my instincts are saying to not talk about it, to talk about something else. But every time I've pushed through those and I've shared vulnerability, I have felt less alone and connected with more and gotten through it. In Dune, they say fear is the mind killer. So strap on in. I am going to let fear wash over me and share what's going on with me. I'm struggling with money right now. I was laid off in February. My first YouTube video, actually. I posted my first YouTube video the week I got laid off. And I've always wanted to do YouTube. I have grown up online. I love the internet. I love connecting. The internet and social media has always been a very warm place for me, a place where I feel like I can be myself, a place where I felt seen. Always been my dream to create. When I moved across the country 4 years ago, there was so much going on in my life. I was like in the middle of my Saturn return. I was falling in love. I was making all of these strides, like moving across the country. And I felt like there was a lot of interpersonal stuff I was dealing with. And I didn't have the energy to share the process because it does take energy for me. Like this is taking energy for me to go against my instinct and to be vulnerable. And I think that that's brave. I've always thought vulnerability is an incredibly brave thing to share. I didn't have the energy to do that. So I kind of disappeared for 4 years. Like no one saw me. No one heard from me. I tried to show up and I wanted the connection without the price of vulnerability that I needed to pay. And so I wasn't receiving it. And I felt really, really lost for a bit there. And I found my way out of that 4 years of change. And when I got laid off, I had been very unhappy in my job for a long time. I felt stuck. I felt depressed. I felt anxious. I was literally going to therapy to talk about my career. I started therapy right after I got married, which is funny. And I really struggled with identity. On my wedding, around my wedding, I felt like I was straddling two worlds. For a lot of my life, I've wanted that clean slate, had this idealized version of what I think a successful me looks like. And that version is really not much like me. It's somebody who's not me and somebody who doesn't live my life. But integral in that version was like starting over when I had my stuff figured out. And so moving across the country where like nobody knew who I was and having such a wonderful partner, it felt like the perfect opportunity. And at the same time, my husband met me because I was being myself. I came into my own. So it's been a weird identity thing for me. And at the same time, I've always been really fearful about money. Now, I am in couples therapy. My husband and I just started couples therapy. We did it before we got married. I'd recommend it to everyone. I think it's a really smart idea. Me and my husband are really compatible. And a lot of the reasons why we're compatible, which is my belief that it's a lot of the reasons why a lot of people are compatible, are you have mirroring experiences in life that lead you to feel comfortable with somebody, but those mirroring experiences are not always like positive. A lot of our attachment theory and a lot of how you show up in relationships have to do with the relationships you saw growing up, the relationships you had to your caregivers growing up. And so when you're feeling comfortable with somebody, that's wonderful. But when you're trying to like break generational trauma or just like write your own history, it's helpful to have an expert in the field. Nick and I were always really passionate about that, about having our own story. And so having a couples therapist to help guide us has been very helpful. So anyway, we started going to her again recently because I'm laid off and our income was cut in half. And in our most recent session, we were discussing money, which is what we've been discussing for a bit now. I am on unemployment, but if you've never been on unemployment before, it's not how much I was making. So I was making $10,000 a month before taxes were taken out. On unemployment, I make $1,800 a month with taxes already taken out. So that's like a really big difference. And money has always been, I think money in general is something that's very personal to people and they feel like uncomfortable discussing. I grew up during the recession. Like a lot of my like integral years of like middle school to high school were impacted by the recession. I saw people growing up like lose their homes. I'm from an area that was really affected by the recession. Everybody was affected by the recession, but being laid off was one of my biggest fears until it happened to me. I saw my dad get laid off. I saw people's parents get laid off. I saw what that did and how that brought instability. And it's just always been a real big fear of mine. So when it happened to me, it was this weird moment where I'm like, I survived it, but it's also living that fear in real time. Conversely, Nick wasn't affected. My husband, like growing up, his dad was at a different stage of life and didn't have that like experience that I had. At the same time, like he has his own relationship to money. So in our most recent couples therapy session, our couples therapist was like, you should unpack in therapy to me your relationship to money and like how it changes. And I was very candid back and was like, I'm not going to therapy. Like we have our insurance, we pay $150 every single time we go to therapy. So like the therapy we've decided to go to as couples, I do not have the money to go to individual therapy. And it reminded me that a couple of years ago when I first started sharing online, time and age has graced me to understand the privilege I spoke with. And I really want to apologize with how quickly I would go online and I would share that really passionately that therapy was helpful. And I do believe in therapy. I think it's incredibly helpful. But at that time, I worked at a company that to go to therapy was like $25 with my health insurance. Now, we have Anthem, like we have Blue Cross Blue Shield Anthem. We have that. For the insurance we have, because insurance is, we do pay $150 every time we go to therapy. We pay $250 every time we go to a psychiatrist appointment. We have a very high deductible. And at the time that I was saying like go to therapy, it was because I was seeing all these people like talk about coaching, and I didn't like feeling like people were getting taken advantage of, because I'm like, you don't have to spend that much money. But now I realize that oftentimes perhaps an online coach is less expensive than therapy because of insurance. So I just want to apologize for that sincerely. Since I do not have the money to go to individual therapy, I'm going to take you along with me. And after we chat about this, taking you along with me is like, I'm going to be journaling about this and trying to work through it on my own. And the journaling prompt that I have, if you'd like, if you also are dealing with, money stuff, I'll share at the end. Yeah. So it's just been hard. And when you're deciding to go a certain way, like Nick really felt passionately that when I got laid off, I should pursue this. He's like, you've always wanted to do it. It should take all of your time and energy. And it has. And I'm so glad. Like, I feel so lucky, and I have never worked harder in my life. Every single day, I'm thinking of how do I create content to remind the algorithm who I am. A lot's changed in 4 years, and I need to remind the algorithms of the content I used to create. And at the same time, I want to be helpful to people. And at the same time, the videos have changed. So I'm just working on editing and creating, and a lot of that there's a lot of work to make things look seamless. I'm not trying to say like try being an influencer for a day. I'm just telling you what I'm doing, as well as creating content that brands might want to use. I love this. The idea that I could do this for full-time work is the best gift the universe could ever give me, aside from the love of my life. And I don't want to discourage anyone to do it. In general, I think that we're so extreme nowadays, and that's not super helpful. So there's a middle ground that I would like to be candid about with you. Many people are content creators and they can live normal lives. I think when you think of content creators, people often think of people who you see in the news or like you see on Forbes 30 under 30, and they're making so much money and they seem to have such a lavish lifestyle that people believe like content creation is easy for that, or at least not as hard as like healthcare. And it's not. It's different. It's just definitely not. At the same time, like anything, content creation is an industry, and I communicate like it's the most similar to sales. What's interesting is there's so much work that goes in the back end of there's just so much work in the back end that I think I want to be careful how I talk about it, because like I have been on a VIP tour of Disney. So by the way, when you're feeling bad for me, like just be candid. Like this is a poor little rich girl take. I grew up upper middle class. My parents are well off. I do not have any student loan debt. Everything I've been through, I am white, I am straight, I am cisgender. Like I have a very, very easy life compared to very many people. None of that is stuff that I chose. It's stuff that's privilege, that's lucky for me. And my privilege allows me to hopefully resonate with people and explain when people are talking about like the back end of social media. So it's a lot of just work and communicating back and forth with brands. I think there's this understanding, or there's this belief that like you get a lot of followers and you make a lot of money. And I don't know what you think about this. I have almost 80,000 followers on TikTok, and I do not make a ton of money. I'm not in the creator program on TikTok because I don't want to be, and I have been, and I think it suppresses views, and it just was like a business decision for me, because the most amount of money that people make on influencing is like brand deals, and brand deals pay out by how well a video does. How well a video does is like how many views does it get, how many shares does it get, how many comments does it get, how many saves does it get. All of that stuff requires the algorithm to like push the video out. And there were comments and whispers years ago that when you joined the creator program on TikTok, that it would suppress views. The best creator program, to my knowledge, is YouTube. They have been around the longest. They pay people very fairly. YouTube seems to want to push out content when you upload regularly, and I am not in the rewards program. I think you need 1,000 followers on YouTube to start making AdSense. I do not make any AdSense. I do not make anything on YouTube right now, but I think second tier would be Instagram, which you need 10,000 followers to be a member of, and then you can start making money on posts. You don't have to be part of the creator program on Instagram to make money on like gifted reels. I've never gotten a gift from a reel. Instagram seems to be the social media app that brands are like the most comfortable using. I think because it's owned by Meta, brands can pay for Instagram story slides, they can pay for reels that live on your page for a while. All of those things are things you can sell, and it's so interesting to do this full time. Like, it's just interesting. So I think the biggest misconception is that when you have a lot of followers, you make a ton of money. No. In order to make money, you usually have to sign brand deals. And in order to sign brand deals, you have to prove to a brand like where you'd use their product. Their goal is for you to act as a salesperson. Like, that is your job. So brands want to work with people who already use their product, and then they want to see if like sharing about the product helps people buy. Years ago, I can't speak to what happened when I wasn't online and like using this frequently, but I know now there are a lot of ways that brands are using to track if people make purchases. ShopMy is a big platform where brands can track if somebody uses an influencer's link. I think the biggest kind of thing is that there's this unknown period or unknown influence that these companies are trying to figure out if people are using. And when I talked about the VIP tour, I wasn't just trying to flex. I've been on a couple of VIP tours of Disney, and I don't like them. It is because when you go on a VIP tour of Disney, they take you through the back of things. Like, you can go on any ride, but you get to see what's under the curtain. And I like Disney because I like experiencing it. I don't want to know, you know? And I think there's a level of that with influencing, which I understand, because being an influencer, being a content creator, you're creating entertainment value for people. And I don't want to take that away by explaining how it's made. And I think that might be why people don't directly speak colloquially or plainly about things. The thing about me is I struggle to change how I talk. Like, I struggle to speak in ways that don't feel authentic to me. So I'm going to be blunt when I say there is a lot of work that goes into content creation, and there's a lot of ramp up time before you ever make money. So I have almost 80,000 followers on TikTok. I have been pursuing this full time since February. I got my first brand deal in May because I got signed with an agency, and I have not been paid for that yet. And nobody's in the wrong for it, like, at all. It took me until May to get signed with an agency because my views were down because the algorithms like did not know who I was. So I had to create a lot of content that felt similar to other content I had created to remind the algorithms, oh, like, this account does this. Also, in that time, TikTok was purchased by Oracle. So that has been a whole thing. Like, I got my account banned. It was crazy. Executed on 3 brand deals with 2 different brands. None of them have been paid because they didn't need to be paid yet. The first brand deal I executed on was in June. So we were contacted by the brand in May. We said yes. We got everything approved to go through June. I will be paid in August. Another brand in June was going to be paid in August. And then I posted a video, like, I executed on a brand contract for July that we believe will be paid in August or September. Normal, when you're signing brand deals, you sign contract requirements, and people sign brand deals all the time for less net payments. But I didn't really have the leverage because I hadn't been online for 4 years, and I really needed the money. I do really need the money. So while I only accept brand deals from brands that I actually use and like, it's just like, that's interesting, you know? And I think people like perhaps don't know that. I just got accepted for another brand deal, which is really, really exciting, with a brand that I really like and that I really use. What's funny about that is it's a nail brand, and I don't know if you've been following on Instagram or whatever. I started doing my own nails when I got laid off because I can't afford to go to a nail salon. So I've been really hyper focused on like figuring out how to do gel nail polish. And in that time, I purchased a lot of stuff from Beetles, like a lot of stuff, because it was cheap. And it did give me contact dermatitis, and it also gave me, I believe, a fungal infection, which sounds gross. I know, it feels even grosser. So I have to put 2 creams on my hands twice a day, and I can't put any nail polish on my hands for like until this heals, which is really funny. But I mean, people get fungal infections apparently all the time. The doctor was like, we get them from gloves. I've been wearing, you should always wear gloves if you touch gel, and I do wear gloves, but it's been really hot here, so we think like perhaps that's it. I have worked very hard to get there, and by work hard, I mean I've been pitching myself to brands. I've been trying to create content that feels really authentic to me, and at the same time understand that brands like certain content. So I've been studying how my videos do and trying to make hooks. And what's funny is I had all this imposter syndrome working full time. I've had it for like a while. And when I decided that content creation would be my full-time job, I guess I brought the imposter syndrome with me. And so I was trying to do things and not be myself. It seems so simple. I just like needed to live it to see it. There are things you just like don't know until you realize. It took me months to figure out how to format my storage. MacBook Air, it doesn't have enough RAM. Like it doesn't have enough storage, and just the way my Mac Air is, it doesn't have a fan. So when I export footage, it takes a long time. Like the video that I'm posting for next week, it took 17 hours to get ready to export from CapCut after I edited it. And then I think 4 hours exporting onto an external hard drive. So just like that stuff is stuff you don't realize until you do it, you know? Thankfully, I have figured out my systems and I've done a lot. But I think this thing about content creation is that if you think of it as a job, you were like starting another business, I think you might be more, and maybe I'm saying this, like, I don't know. I need to post this because I want to speak to you before I start my new Catherine's Couch, but I want to be authentic and still see it as a business. So I think in order to do that, I have to be honest with you about what it means to have this as a business, that there is a ramp up time. Like it took me, it's been 7 months and now I'm finally, my videos are being seen by my old mutuals, gotten a second brand deal, which was really exciting. And that was a lot of effort of like reaching out to networks and like reaching out to people and pitching, and a lot of no's. And I feel incredibly grateful to do it. And at the same time, I would be lying if I told you I wasn't working harder than I've ever worked in my entire life. And I love that. It's just a lot of time for stuff. And it's interesting. Like even my husband, like Nick is so supportive of what I do. And I feel so lucky to be with somebody who really like sees the vision. And even I feel it's like interesting to explain to him the importance of uploading consistently on YouTube to maintain an algorithmic upload when I haven't made money on YouTube yet. I just want to be very candid with the situation that I'm in. I feel like I'm an airplane taking off, and I feel like right before an airplane takes off, it like takes its wheels up and then it starts to fly. And that's where I'm at. I have 5 more weeks of unemployment and haven't been paid yet for my brand deals. And we live in the house that we live in because Nick and I both made full-time money to live here. Southern California is expensive. Our rent is more than 50% of the money that's coming into our house. And I'm trying to start a business, which involves like a lot of spend to get there. And I'm feeling really tight and I'm feeling really pressured. And luckily for me, I do well under pressure. It doesn't mean I don't feel it. So even tonight, like Nick and I are going to have a very candid conversation about money and a runway, because as supportive as Nick is, it's hard to believe in something you can't see. And I think he's working full time and the only person bringing in money to our home. And so sometimes it's confusing when I spend so much time doing something that isn't like bringing money in. And there are other like home tasks. Like we had split our home tasks pretty 50-50. And I'm very lucky to have like an equal partner and in everything that I do in life. But that was when I was bringing in 50-50 income. So I'm trying to just working really hard at a lot. You know, I'm trying to make up delta of the money I was bringing in by doing more of the home tasks. Also because Nick is putting pressure on himself. Like we can't both not have a job. So he's working harder than he ever has before to maintain the employment that we do have. I'm working longer than he ever has before. And I'm working harder than I ever have before to build something. And also at the same time, I need to fulfill and be an equal partner. So it's just a lot. I feel really lucky and I also feel really tightly wound. There isn't anything else I'd rather be doing with my time, which is funny. Like we're about to go away to Hawaii and I was like, I have to film 2 YouTube videos and I'm bringing my stuff because I am so committed to this. And I always knew, like I am that way, that I need to do something I really believe in, because when I believe in something, nothing will get in my way. I believe in this so much. So it's just a real privilege to be able to do that. I just want to be very honest with like the reality of it. And the conversation we have tonight, like I don't know how it's going to go. It might end up with me trying to work at a part-time job. I don't want to say that easily. Like when I was working, I was so unhappy at the company I was at and I was there for like 3 years. And for the entirety of the time I was there, I was applying to other jobs full time. I never got a job. Like I applied so frequently to other jobs and like never got one. I've been lucky enough and very thankful to be granted the amount of time I have been to create this and to show up for you to and do that as a full-time thing. So yeah, like I don't know how tonight's gonna go. I know I believe in myself and I know everything is going to be okay, but I want to be honest with you. It's easy to believe that you're always on time for your own life when you're enjoying the timing that you're in. It's harder to believe it when you're in a time of grinding and locking in. And the thing about that is it's never not true. I know I'm on time for my own life and I feel so connected to my journey more than I ever have. And I just feel incredibly lucky to be on this journey with you. We're updating Catherine's Couch. I've been going to Orange Theory for a month now, which is funny. This will be the longest I've taken off of Orange Theory going away. And I'm going to be using the Orange Theory app. They have an app which like you can run, like do stuff at home workouts, and I'll be using that. I'm kind of nervous about it because I really enjoy my coaches and I like the music, but I'm going to find stuff on Spotify and I'll share about it when I'm away. I'll be on stories every single day. The closest Orange Theory is like over an hour away from where we're staying and no one's going in that direction. And so I'm like, okay, I believe in the process. And I think that's the point of life, is believing in the process, and how lucky I am to believe in it. I started doing Orange Theory as a power walker. So when you do cardio, you can be a power walker, a jogger, or a runner. And so I started as a power walker. I was walking, I was increasing my incline. Now we just did the mile today and I run the entire time. Now my running is a lot slower than other people's, but it's something for me. And it's what I like about Orange Theory is you're always monitoring your own heart and you're doing things for how your body is reacting to it. So it's so cool to see how much I've grown in a month and how much more resilience also, pushing through the discomfort. And when you believe that you can't do something for me is like seeing my heart monitor. I'm like, I know I can. And it's so freeing for me. So I loved my podcast. I loved connecting with you long form. I don't think I'm long-winded. Maybe I am. I like to think with my ADHD that I get to the points pretty quickly. I just have a lot of points to make at one point in time. So I have created, and I am creating, Catherine's Couch, where I will interview people on my couch with you. We'll ask them questions and we'll get to just play with childhood versions of ourselves. My first episode of Catherine's Couch with my first ever guest is my friend Natalia. It will go live next week. I recorded it this week, edited it. So excited about it. I want to be a place on the internet where when you leave hanging out with me, I want you to feel better about yourself. I want you to believe that you can do more. I want you to believe in yourself. I want you to feel comfortable and I want you to feel happy. And every time I hang out with people, it's on my couch. And the format of the show that I am still workshopping is to make you feel that. I want people to be able to be their authentic selves, and I want us to all feel closer. Because at the end of the day, everybody's inner child is a lot more similar. We have a lot more in common than we have apart. And so the hope is that Catherine's Couch will help you and me remind ourselves of that when so much around the world is trying to tell us otherwise. So I'm super excited for it. I have my first guest. I'm going to be working on booking other guests, and we will still connect like this, especially every once in a while, if not routinely. I'm still figuring out that, but I'm so excited about this concept. I'm so excited to take you with me. And I wanted to talk to you one-on-one about it before we just like rolled it out. But yeah, that's all I have for you this week. I love you so much. You mean the absolute world to me. If nobody has told you yet today, let me be the first to say, you're always on time for your own life. I will talk to you soon. Bye.